After working at Arden Villas on October 24, 2021, 19-year-old Mia Marcano had intended to take a flight back to her family that evening. However, that didn't happen, and she vanished forever. Pembroke Pines is a reasonably large city with plenty of sun, sand, and, according to the locals, delicious food. The city also boasts excellent weather and a strong commitment to the arts and culture scene. It is in Pembroke Pines that Mia Marcano and the Marcano family lived. Mia came into the world on April 26, 2002. Her mother, Emma Gabriel, currently resides in the Virgin Islands, and her father, Marlon Marcano, is a well-known DJ who goes by the moniker DJ Eternal Vibes. As a child, Mia was full of life. Although Mia was small at just under 5 feet tall, she was full of strength and confidence growing up in the Sunshine State. She attended Charles Flanagan High School, and in her free time, Mia would frequently participate in carnivals. Mia graduated in May of 2020. Even though her parents had split up, she had strong support from both parents. Unlike many other students who chose to postpone their college education, Mia was ambitious and wanted to advance in her adult life. Since Florida already boasts some of the best weather in the country, she also decided not to venture too far and started her studies later that year at the University of Central Florida, which is just 200 miles north of her hometown. As her first year in Orlando came to an end, Mia transferred from UCF to Valencia College. She was considering going into sports medicine or physiotherapy after first getting an arts degree to become an adult and a trustworthy worker. To help make ends meet, Mia worked a part-time job in the leasing office of Arden Villas, a luxury off-campus apartment complex near UCF. To make things easier for herself, this was also her place of residence. She managed to study, work part-time at Arden Villas, and even live like a student. Mia would have multiple awkward run-ins with the maintenance man, who was very persistent in wanting to date her. Mia actually thought of him as a pushy creep, despite his attempts to charm her with compliments and persistent attention. In 2021, Mia found herself still balancing the demands of both work and college. Amidst her busy schedule, she was also looking forward to making a trip to visit her family in Pembroke Pines. On Friday the 24th, Mia was scheduled to board a 1-hour flight from Orlando back to Lauderdale, but she didn't do so until after she had completed her shift at Arden Villas and signed out at 5 p.m. The timing was difficult, but Mia was eager to see her family again. But after her shift ended, Mia didn't respond to any texts or calls, which was unusual behavior for her. It's possible that she was preoccupied with getting to her flight, or that she was having phone problems at this point. But as the night went on and her parents waited on the other side, their worries intensified when her flight arrived without Mia on board. Panicked and afraid, they called Mia on her cell phone to find out where she was, or at the very least, to make sure she was okay. But all they got was silence, which continued the entire evening, and Mia literally vanished. It was really odd for her to disappear like that because she never ignored her parents' calls. When 9:30 p.m. rolled around and she still hadn't responded, her family got really worried. They ended up calling the Orange County Sheriff's Office to see if they could help find Mia.
Orange County Sheriff's Office, this line is being recorded. This is Operator Winstead. How may I help you?
Hi, I'm calling to find out if I can have a wellness check.
By 9:42 p.m., a deputy was dispatched to Arden Villas, and they arrived just after 10 p.m. at her apartment. The officer knocked on the apartment building 3 times, but no one answered. Eventually, one of Mia's roommates arrived, and when she checked inside, she saw that the door to Mia's bedroom was locked. According to the official incident report, Officer Paulino Samir noted that after looking through the bedroom window, he found it unlocked. He then proceeded to push it open, revealing several other unusual details, including scattered jewelry on the floor, her luggage bag left untouched, and what seemed to be bloodstains on her pillow. When asked if there was anyone in Mia's life that she was seeing or had recently become friends with her roommates, she mentioned Armando Caballero, the maintenance man. She said that Armando had been attempting to go on a date with Mia for a while, but she had always turned him down. Armando, who was 27 years old, had been working there since June of that year. It seemed like he was fixated on Mia, constantly bothering her and trying to ask her out. She had turned him down multiple times, but he just wouldn't quit. At one point, he even sent her $700 via Cash App just because he thought she was pretty. She sent the money back, but she was starting to feel uneasy about the whole situation. Other women in the complex had similar experiences with Armando, and the police were getting a lot of complaints about him. One woman even told investigators that he had left her a note asking her out on a date. She agreed initially, but when he wanted to meet up sooner, she declined. That's when things took a weird turn. Someone threw a weight at her window in the middle of the night. She was pretty sure it was Armando, so she called the police. They looked into it, but nothing came of it, and Armando was never charged. Just before 3 a.m, Mia's family traveled 200 miles north to Orlando to assist with the search efforts. Once they arrived at Arden Villas, the maintenance man Armando also showed up. His presence was enough to stir up emotions within the family, who knew who he was and had heard plenty about him through Mia. Mia's family was quick to highlight multiple oddities that the deputy had missed. For example, a yellow box cutter was found underneath her rug, which was both unusual and unrecognizable, and some other things that were rather argumentative. And then, unexpectedly, they encountered Armando there.
You have sent obsessive texts to Mia. We have all seen the text. You talked about giving her your life savings. You cash apped her money, and you claim that you weren't in touch.
Who told her gave
it's
her
on
life
text.
savings? I never
As a
said
matter of
that.
fact, we're going to get a police report to pull your phone records if that's the case.
What you trying to do?
There's evidence of obsession. You're fascinated with
It's
Mia.
not only from my side, so don't try to make this
No
like
one,
I'm a
no one's
stalker.
saying that. It takes
She's
two.
not here to defend
There's-
herself right now, so
obviously
we gotta
she's
talk to
missing.
you.
So we're talking to
And
you,
I
who've been going
completely
back and
respect
forth
that. I
on
understand
text.
that. That is your family.
Right.
But until we figure out what's going on, just don't beat me up.
Nobody
one's
beating
beating
you
If
up.
I'm guilty, why
But you
would I
you put
come
yourself in the middle right here. You brought yourself over here.
Because we're concerned.
You're concerned. Why weren't you concerned hours ago?
I just found out.
All right, cool, no problem.
So
In
how
the
did,
first few
how
hours,
did Tati find out?
We didn't think it was serious. I don't even know how Tati found
Oh,
out.
somebody's
She told me-
missing and you don't think it's serious.
Someone
Maybe they
that
hanging out. They got this place right here. They go downtown. I don't know. Maybe her phone's off. I don't know what she
she would
did.
use somebody's phone.
Family members fought, with Armando pointing out that they were aware of his compulsive text messaging to Mia, giving her money via Cash App, and even offering her his life savings at one point. But Armando refuted these allegations. Shortly after, Armando left. Given the family's accusations, it may be argued that the police could have done more. Armando told officers he had last seen Mia while also at work at 3 p.m., about 2 hours before she abruptly disappeared by noon. Armando's strange behavior and the fact that he was there at 4 a.m. were all suspicious factors, but he was allowed to leave with no further questions asked. A missing persons notice was released shortly after, but police took their time starting their investigations.
Tonight, family and friends are searching for 19-year-old Mia Marcano. No one has seen or heard from her in more than 24 hours. West 2's Sanait Gebregerges helps break down what law enforcement now knows so far.
Mia Marcano was last seen at this apartment complex on Arden Villas Boulevard Friday evening, and now flyers like this one are posted around the property begging for the community's help to find the 19-year-old.
Mia's family was not at all surprised when, that same morning, they watched Armando carefully from their vehicle. They saw an extremely concerning red flag when Armando got out of his silver Ford Fusion and was seen taking a blanket, a glove, and a bag out of the car before entering his apartment in Seminole County. They were positive that the blankets belonged to Mia, and they called 911 knowing this. Since there was no active search warrant, police were not legally allowed to enter his apartment. To their surprise, Armando let Mia's family look through instead, but nothing noteworthy was discovered. With no active search warrant and no noteworthy evidence discovered by officers, he was free to continue with his day. The Marcano family seethed with frustration, fully aware of Armando's involvement in Mia's disappearance. This heightened their anxiety as they contemplated Armando's next move. Their tension reached a peak when, at 3 p.m. that day, he climbed into his car and drove away. Sheriffs knew that Armando had shown a close interest in Mia, but as the hours passed, those rumors started to sound truer. By 4:30 p.m., just 24 hours after Mia's disappearance, a warrant was issued for his arrest. Within the next hour, detectives raided and secured Armando's apartment, but too little too late. Armando had vanished. Just 2 hours after Armando left his house free, investigators discovered that someone had used a master key to enter Mia's apartment on Friday night, and since Armando was a maintenance worker, he was known to have one. After connecting the key to Armando, this new information would formally classify Armando as a wanted man because, at the very least, he had entered her home without permission. The county sheriff began looking into his profile because finding Armando was now vital to understanding Mia's disappearance. However, they would now need to search in both directions because the question was not only where Armando had been, but also where he was at this time. Detectives pulled his cell phone records, but this investigation would take some time, and over the weekend, tensions increased as both Mia and Armando remained silent. Then, on a Monday afternoon, unexpected news shook the case.
After Mia was reported missing, our detectives determined 27-year-old Armando Manuel Caballero was a person of interest in her disappearance. Earlier today, Armando Caballero was found dead at an apartment complex in Seminole County.
Despite this setback, Mia's family remained resilient, rallying support from far and wide as volunteers joined the search efforts. Vigils were held, drawing crowds of people praying for Mia's safe return. Meanwhile, investigators intensified their efforts, tracking Armando's movements through digital forensics. Their focus expanded across various counties, with the FBI joining forces to aid in the search. Clues from Armando's cell phone data led them to areas like downtown Orlando and Timbiscan. Located just southwest of downtown Orlando, Timbiscan is an older complex of condominiums next to Lake Catherine. Built in 1972, the area is known for drug use, violence, and fatalities. In other words, this place is definitely not safe to be in. Even worse, when Armando's phone rang here between 8 and 9 p.m. on the night of Mia's abduction, police learned that Armando had formerly resided in Timbiscan. Once the authorities discovered that Armando was familiar with the area, they conducted a search.
Now at 7:02, a community is in mourning after officials in Orlando say they may have found the body of 19-year-old Mia Marcano.
We sent search teams out first thing this morning. That's when they found what we believe to be Mia. Cell phone records showed us that Caballero was in or near the Timbiscan apartments on Friday evening between 8 and 9 o'clock.
Sadly, at 10:45 that morning, they discovered Mia Marcano's body there. She'd been half naked, taped up with black duct tape, and had her handbag close at hand. For Mia's family and everyone else praying for her safe return, this was devastating news. The police suspected him of being responsible since they found her where Armando had gone. Mia's father, Marlon Marcano, shared his pain on Instagram, saying his heart was shattered. He wished he could have been there for her and expressed his love for her, saying he'll miss her smile and voice dearly. When word spread that Mia had died, concerns about who should be held accountable for the tragedy flared up. It was obvious that Armando was, but since he was able to avoid punishment, it was also evident that negligence played a role. The Arden Villas apartment building, where Mia Marcano worked and resided, is being sued by her parents for negligence. When Marcano vanished on September 24th, just after it was said that a maintenance worker named Armando Caballero had been spotted entering her apartment with a master key, Arden Villa released a statement saying all potential employees are vetted through a national background check services provider, and no records of burglary or sexual assault were found involving Caballero. However, records revealed Armando's history of aggression and criminal behavior, including an incident where he launched a dumbbell weight through a window after being rejected by a woman. Armando had a pattern of aggressive behavior towards women, evidenced by prior run-ins with the law, including detonating a homemade explosive in a school as a prank. Despite this, Arden Villas failed to adequately vet him or recognize the potential danger he posed. One of the many frustrating things about this case is Arden Villa's reaction to Mia's disappearance, as it took them 3 days just to acknowledge that she was missing. Their delayed response to Mia's disappearance, lack of compassion, and failure to take responsibility only worsened public perception, which further complicated the issue. The community's response to Mia's death was residents and neighbors protesting for improved security measures at Arden Villas. Mia's family argued that the apartment complex should have taken greater measures to protect her and assist in locating her. The lawsuit, initiated on October 18th, demands damages exceeding $30,000, emphasizing the family's desire for change. They hope this legal action will prompt not only Arden Villas, but also other complexes across Florida and the nation to prioritize safety. During her time there, Mia became conscious of co-workers, including Caballero, with whom she exchanged contact information. However, the lawsuit alleged that Mia was unaware of Caballero's criminal background and history of harassing women, as well as his unsupervised access to her apartment. Mia's discomfort with Caballero's attention was expressed to others, indicating a failure on the part of Arden Villas management to address safety concerns seriously. On the day of her disappearance, despite her family's attempts to reach her, Mia was unresponsive, making them contact the apartment complex's emergency line. However, no one responded to their messages due to phone issues. The lawsuit asserts that if Arden Villas management had promptly investigated Mia's apartment, her life might have been saved. Mia's family holds Arden Villas accountable for their daughter's fate, emphasizing that Armando should never have had unrestricted access to the key fob. The negligence of the apartment complex, they argue, directly contributed to Mia's untimely death. Through legal action, they seek not only justice for Mia, but also systemic changes to prevent similar tragedies in the future. The lawyer for Marcano's family claims that Deputy Paulino, who showed up at Marcano's residence the day she was reported missing based on an incident report, had enough evidence to at least hold Caballero. The deputy does include information in the report on Caballero's admission that he attempted to date Marcano but was turned down. Additionally, he reported on witnesses who said Caballero had been following Marcano around. Deputy Paulino's actions fall below the national standards, and for the manner in which he handled the investigation, Washington is calling for Deputy Paulino to be terminated, the law firm representing Washington said in a statement.
He had this information prior to encountering Armando. So based on having that information from these two witnesses, and then having the family telling this sheriff deputy about the text messages and the harassment that Mia was enduring from this person, I think all of that combined together was enough information for them to detain this person.
The family's lawyer has previously expressed disapproval of the Orange County Sheriff's Office's handling of Marcano's disappearance.
Sadly, detaining Caballero at 4:30 a.m. would not have changed the fact that Caballero left her body at the Timberscan Apartments between 8 and 9 p.m. The night before.
That statement was just basically made to deflect from the shortcomings of his department.
Sheriff John Mina of Orange County responded to earlier complaints by saying, "Deputies are not allowed to arrest or detain someone based on a hunch or based on what someone else is saying. Rather, they need to provide evidence to support such a detention." Mina has also stated that, regrettably, the fact that detectives claim Caballero left her body at the flats between 8 and 9 p.m. the previous night would not have changed if he had been detained that evening. Additionally, he has clarified that the events at the apartments occurred 8 hours prior to the sheriff's office being contacted to inquire about Marcano's well-being. After Mia's autopsy was finally made public at the end of December 2021, the report stated that although her finding in an abandoned apartment complex with multiple restraints suggests that she may have been the victim of an assault, the cause of death is still listed as homicide by undetermined means due to advanced decomposition. This means that neither the cause of death nor any physical circumstances leading up to or following Mia's death are known for certain, which must be devastating for Mia's family. On October 14, 2021, Mia Marcano's wake and service were held at the Cooper City Church of God. She was then laid to rest in Bailey Memorial Gardens in North Lauderdale. She deserved to feel safe and be safe not only in her place of residence, but her place of work too. But unfortunately, a callous man who lacked even the slightest sense of decency was given the chance to unexpectedly attack Mia in her own home, murder her, and then cowardly commit suicide. Since her passing, Mia's family has established the Mia Marcano Foundation, which aims to protect students and the most vulnerable members of society by educating and supporting the families of missing people. Additionally, Mia's Law, which aims to improve security and personal safety on residential properties in Florida, is already making its way through state legislation. Mia just wanted to visit her family, but tragically, she lost her life. This case has left us with countless unanswered questions, most of which Armando has taken with him to the grave.